weird comes back on. They
You never said any weird
You
things.
gotta hold your question till the story.
It's on.
Is it on?
It's on.
Anyway, the spuds would come back over this chain and
I go back.
hi, Jay. And lay on top of the ground, and so you had two rows side by side, so two pickers could pick side by side, and if they didn't like each other, they didn't. If you had a picking partner. Anyway, my dad had this thing rigged up. He would ride. He ride. There was a shield over the power shop on the harvester, and we wrapped it with gunny sack so that I could sit, and I would be the weed
Fine.
stomper. That was my job, to vines so that
off the power table.
off the power takeoff. I didn't know it was dangerous at the time, but he'd drive it, and I would stomp the vines, especially really in the morning when it was wet. Just play up those things like crazy. Towards the end of our high school years, someone had invented the what do they call it? I forget what they called the name of the machine, but they would go before the spud day went out
On beat the vines.
and beat the vines off.
Oh.
So it eliminated that. But and then one of the hard jobs was bucking spuds, and that was lifting the bags up onto the wagon or up on the truck
Can you
and take them
imagine
into the
how
spud cellar.
heavy that would be? How
Did you have the hot hay hauling to an elevator that would
No, not
catch
back
it?
then.
Oh wow.
the
Back
truck
then.
would drive along through the field and guys would be on either side, right?
Would you flip it with your knees, pick it up,
Mhm.
and kind of
Yep, boost it with your knee up
Were
on
they 50-pound bags?
or bigger, heavier than that. They're probably
No
80 pounds.
wonder I was aching.
Well, of course you did.
Because to pick potatoes, you had to be bent over all the time, you know?
Uh-huh.
Walking along and bent over. Got down on your knees while you get kind of cold and muddy.
You bagged probably 80 to 100 pounds is my guess. And then you'd have one guy riding on the truck that would back and go to the spud cellar and back the truck into the spud cellar, and then you just empty the sacks and the spuds would go into a big pile.
So you're kind of missing eating those Idaho potatoes, aren't you?
Can't you
No,
get,
we eat them all the time.
you get them in your grocery store?
No, not good ones.
Oh.
Yeah, you buy
Favorite
good
brand.
ones.
Are they?
Big boxes.
Uh-huh.
I know we have them $1 for 10 pounds at our stores.
Yeah.
I know.
But there was something else you were going to tell about potatoes, weren't you?
I don't know.
Are there any to make potato worms or potato
Or
bugs?
potato bugs, yeah.
And are they really gross or not really in the potatoes? Like a tomato burg.
I don't know. I don't
Oh,
They
honey,
stay
don't.
beneath
I don't
and-
remember quite so much about that. Sierra had a question.
You know how we have like TV and iPods now? Do you guys make
I didn't hear you. What did you say?
You had an iPod. We have iPods.
You know
And
how we have iPods
Yes.
and all that stuff now. Do you guys like make up games
Yes.
instead of?
They made up kissing tag.
we used to play
That
spin
was
the
your
bottle.
parents.
Yes, we made up a lot of games, but what we did mostly, I think, and especially in the summertime, we played a lot of kick the can and active games,
Run, sheepy, run.
run sheepy run, steal a flag, steal a bacon, all that kind of stuff. But in the wintertime, I remember playing Battleship with my mom. We would make these grids, and
You made it up.
Made it
It
up.
wasn't
but
like the Battleship game. No.
no,
You have your
well,
own bed?
it was similar
It
to
was
it,
the
I
same
think.
thing. You would draw where your ship was, and your mom would have to guess, and you'd have to guess her.
Yeah, something like that.
Did you say, did we have our own bed? I never did.
Did you share a
three,
bed?
three or four of us in a bed.
You didn't have any heat or anything?
Oh, yeah.
You had heat?
We had a coal furnace. That you had to go down and put the coal in the basement and put buckets of coal in the furnace for it to burn.
We didn't have any heat in our basement. It was cold.
Well, our basement was cold too, but didn't you use a furnace down there?
No, not till
Where
after.
did you heat? How did you heat your house?
Upstairs, there was a coal stove upstairs.
Oh, okay.
Downstairs, we didn't have any heat at all.
Okay.
So Mom, you guys didn't really need heat with 4 of you in a bed.
No, but one time there were, I'm pretty sure it was 4 of us, and I was the youngest, of course, and I don't know how old I was. But I remember waking up in the night and thinking, where am I? Where am I? And around my head were feet.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow my head had gotten down.
Oh.
I don't know how that happened. Well, when we slept with so many in a bed, well, maybe it was more than that, but Grandma Morgan came and lived with us all the time, except in the very coldest of winter. And so she had to have her own bedroom. And so that left one bedroom for us to have.
Wow.
So there were a few of us in there.
Wow.
I always slept with either EH or Dean. I didn't mind EH so much, but I hated to sleep with Dean.
Why?
Because he'd push me up into the corner. I'd be
It's big, too.
much bigger than me, and he didn't care. Get over, Dennis. You're on my side of the bed. Well, here's the middle. I don't care. My side goes all the way over to here.
Was he 10 years older than you? 7.
7 years older than me and about 500 pounds heavier. But I'll tell you something. I would get the best of Dean every once in a while, and it would make him furious. I'd get him mad and get him chasing me, and I'd run out, get out on the road and run as fast as I could, and he's about ready to grab me. I'd fall down and roll backwards, and he would trip over me, and I would laugh, and I'd laugh so hard, I tried to get up and run and get away from him again, and I couldn't. He would lay there on the road and just beat the tar out of me for doing that. It was always so funny. I'd get him so mad at me, he'd chase me. As soon as I'd start chasing, I could feel his hand almost on me, and
that's when you
then I'd fall down, fall down, and roll backwards.
was Aunt Marjorie protective of you?
No, Aunt Marjorie could outrun EH and Dean. And she said she could outrun
She
him
was a
and beat up on
tomboy.
him.
She was a tomboy.
What did you guys wear? Like what type of clothes?
Long stockings, long cotton stockings in the winter to keep us warm. I
And
don't
you
know
always
about
wear
the guys.
dresses, right? You do wear
Yeah,
pants?
no.
I had
Well,
the-
but we wore snow pants.
Was it inappropriate to wear pants? Like,
It was just unheard of.
oh, just weird.
I had the most awful underclothing that I had to wear when I was a kid. Well,
As
stockings.
a top-
No, stockings.
Oh, what
Oh,
did
you
you
wore
wear?
stockings?
It was horrible
What?
because I'd have these long stockings on, and then Mother, in order to keep them up, my mother fabricated this thing. She'd sew it on the stockings, come up under my shirt, over my shoulders, and down the other side to hold my stockings up.
Oh,
Honey, it was a garter belt that everybody,
It was not a typical
well, it
garment,
went over your shoulders, but
and it was the
Why
most
did
awful
stocks have
thing.
such a hard time staying up back in those days?
well, belts would hold them up.
Oh, you didn't have elastic like we have now.
No, not like we have
Well, they
now.
were long. We're talking about. You
They
didn't
were
wear
long.
knee-high
No,
socks.
they came
Brown,
up
ugly
to-
socks. They were all the way up to my
Yeah.
thigh.
And so
Oh,
it would be
yeah.
like suspenders almost.
Oh,
And that was the most miserable thing. I was so embarrassed to have to wear that kind of stuff.
People didn't ever wear it.
Not in my mind. I was the only one that ever had
But
to
they
wear
were
anything like
brown stockings,
that.
cotton stockings.
And I had to wear bib overalls until I was, well, pictures of me in bib overalls in my grade school pictures. I was probably in the 5th or 6th grade before I ever got to wear Levi's.
You just wear boots?
Oh, poor you. I love overalls.
What shoes would you guys wear?
Yeah, overalls.
Shoes?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Lace up,
Except
lace up high top shoes.
in high school, saddle Oxfords were the popular thing for girls, black and white. Do you know what saddle Oxfords are? Oh, cool. They're really cool.
Yeah.
Well, the shoe is white, and then it has a black piece of leather going right across there.
and the
And then you
leather
have
had little pole
lace-
ornamentations, right?
Sometimes.
Maybe
Penny loafers too
sometimes.
that we would wear.
Yeah,
Were you two
To put a
really
penny in.
fashionable?
but in high school you'd want to keep
I was
your
very fashionable with my stockings.
saddle Oxfords polished, the white polished really good, you know, and then have really nice shoelaces.
Well, was there anything that was like popular to wear? Like if you're like a fourth person?
Yes, Jansen sweaters.
What's that?
That's a brand.
Kind of like Calvin Klein today.
Kind of a pop.
Okay.
I'll help you out.
And,
Okay.
and that's another thing that we gave our spud money for. The girls would buy Jansen sweaters, and I think I had one, maybe two Jansen sweaters, and they were, you could have pullovers or you could have cardigans. And they even made Jansen skirts. Well, Barbara Jean Smith.
See, you picture her, the Herdmans, the story of the Herdmans.
Yeah.
And this girl that was, you know, the snooty one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's Barbara Jean Smith.
Barbara Jean Smith was an only child too, and her dad had a Cadillac, and she got to drive it. And so we liked Barbara. Well, we liked Barbara. No, we liked Barbara Jean Smith very much. But she always had Jansen outfits in high school. You know, the skirt and the pullover short sleeve sweater and the cardigan sweater, always. And I just worked so hard and got me one or two.
Did you wear your sister's clothes all the time?
No, she wore mine.
What about your hair?
No, but you know what? Choice,
Yeah.
sweetheart Choice. She saw me at high school one day, and she said, "Connie Wheeler, you have on my sweater. You go home right now and take that off."
Oh.
And she always wore mine without asking. I was just so embarrassed.
Oh.
And she didn't care because she, at a high school dance, earned money for some club that had a booth there. Once people paid so much money, then she would swallow a live goldfish.
And Joyce?
Yes.
That is.
She would do anything.
You're giving my kids ideas on how to make money. Be careful.
How did you do your hair? Like the popular way to do your hair.
Uh,
Grandpa.
yeah. The guys had a crew cut.
A big, well,
Oh, before that.
had a big wave.
Did you?
No, but
Oh, you didn't.
Cream, little
Real cream zero when I was
When I was, I don't know, I was in the grade or so, I went home. I went to a man who used to cut my hair. I got a crew cut. My mother just cried.
Flat.
it would stand, but it would stand about that high.
And it was
Yeah.
Yeah. Straight across. So it's-
like Elmo's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you had, was it a flat top or a
Yeah.
yeah, flat?
So we'll go up,
It was like this. And then
straight up, and then straight across.
But not very high.
Not very high.
Oh.
There was a sign of rebellion in my mother's mind.
Oh.
So when I came home, and she was just shaking. She was so hurt because she had told me many times she didn't want me to have them.
Oh.
My hair was so straight, and Idaho the wind blows all of the time. And my hair
We didn't
was
have
always,
hairstyle.
my hair was always in my eyes. And my buddies were getting nice, so I didn't tell mother I was going to get my hair cut that day. Someone went to Miss Lee and paid 50 cents, so I wanted that top.
Now, how do they make the hair stand straight up?
Pearl cream.
Yeah, Brill cream, mine never did.
Oh,
Oh.
Alberta 5.
I don't know.
Remember when they had those little plastic flat top brush that would fit over the middle finger and then you'd
I would try to do that with my hair and get it to stand up, and it never really did. Making it different in my eye all the time.
He combed it.
Then I outgrew that and got a slave in the
what do you
foot.
do with your hair?
It was long.
Worked out.
Yeah. And it was,
Very
Grandma
dark.
had beautiful, dark,
and it had lots of,
wavy body,
yeah, it had a lot of body and a little bit of a
thick
weight.
hair.
So was it popular that you did things or no bangs?
But we had to use curlers, metal curlers. You can have other
How did those work? You weren't what?
How'd they stay in your hair?
Oh, well, rolled it up, and then you had a little, like a, you get a gold perm. Have you ever seen the perm curlers? No. Okay. Then what would be a little clasp on it and fasten it shut. But also bobby pins, and so I would usually just put great big pin curls. Pin curls? A pin curl?
Like yours?
Like this?
Twist it and then
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Get my hair out and do that. But we didn't have blow dryers either. So, so if I needed my hair to get dry really fast, I'd lay down in front of the furnace vent. That meant it would blow, out the hot air, then I'd try to dry my hair.
Did you have to have spankings at school? Like,
I got spanked when I was.
I didn't.
you did that?
well, you didn't because you were so good. So let's ask Dad.
No, I was never spanked. I was just kicked out of school.
But they did have them though? They had
I don't know.
wooden?
Tell us about getting kicked out of school, Dad.
Not in my case.
I got swatted really hard in 6th grade for saying help.
Oh,
Brad.
guess so.
And you just did it again.
And I got swatted really hard.
Aw.
And Daryl Troster filled his back pockets full of old magazines that he'd cut up, and when the teacher found out that he'd tried to pat it, he spanked him extra hard.
Dad, you really did get kicked out of school once?
Well, I was in high school. I was old enough to know better.
Well, you
but-
better not talk about that.
Well, I was sassing a teacher, is all. And I'd go in and I'd sit at the back of the class, and she would say, Dennis, I want you to sit up front. And this one day I said, I'm not going to sit up front. And she said, Dennis, up front. I said, no.
Well, you should have got.
And she said, you will go down and see Mr. Boyle right now. So I got up, walked down to Mr. Boyle's office, and he said, what's wrong? And I told him, and he said, you're out of here and don't come back
She never
without bringing your parents. So I went and cleaned out my locker and went to the front door, and he met me at the front door and said, Dennis, put those things back in your locker and go back to class. I said, oh darn.
You probably didn't say, well,
I didn't say oh darn.
You were relieved, huh?
Well, yeah. He said, just cool it. He knew me really well. He was a good old guy. And he got to know me better because my senior year,
Yeah.
he lived in Ryrie.
Uh-huh.
Of course, I was dating your mother,
My mother.
your mother,
Connie.
your grandmother, Connie. And I was skipping school a lot going up to Ryrie, trying to get her to skip school. And my grades were reflecting poor performance. Casey back then.
yes.
And I was really starting to fail stuff. And he called me into his office one day, Mr. Boyle. He said, Dennis, your grades aren't very good. And I said, I know it. He said, my wife tells me you're up in Ryrie all the time. Because she'd see me up there. They lived
Well, you know,
Practically
there's
across
2
the-
blocks or 3 blocks. and
practically across the street from the school.
Really lived.
And I drove a very distinctive car.
Yeah, I bet you
They
did.
lived across the street from the church.
And he said, you know, you graduate if your grades keep doing it like this. And I don't remember what I said, but anyway, he said, I understand why you're skipping school. I understand why your grades are low. I understand what's going on. Just do enough so that I can graduate you.
Oh, what a nice
out of
guy.
And I think he had a heart-to-heart with all my teachers
Oh.
because I did enough to graduate.
Well, we said, let's get this guy out of here.
What's the highest math class you had?
Highest math class.
What? The highest math class?
Algebra.
No, I had geometry.
Did you?
Yeah, last year.
Well, I had geometry.
It's not that we were dumb. We were
No, I know.
accelerated.
No,
They
I
didn't,
know.
they didn't offer
No.
like classes that you get nowadays either.
No, I wish we didn't have them this time.
Well, we had typing
Right.
class. Yeah, and if you took 2 years of typing, you really got speedy at it. So your speed was up at 55
Brian,
words per minute or
tell everybody
something.
good night.
Good night.
Night, Bri.
Night, right?
Love you, Brian.
Love you,
See you
Brian.
Christmas. Love you, Bri.
Okay.
So that's how we learned to get our hands on the right keys was in typing
We
class,
typed to music.
and we typed to music.
What was it? A typing song or something?
Yeah, that was it, the typewriter. And it would have a rhythm to it, you know, but it wasn't an electric typewriter. It wasn't like computers. It would get to the end of the row and it would give you a bing, and you'd have 5 more spaces that you could go, so you could finish a word out if it was less than 5 spaces. And your little finger would go up, get a hold of this carriage handle, and push it back, and it would push it back over to the other side of the roll.
So if you messed up once, you had to start all over.
Yes, or, well, and then when you took typing tests, you had to count how many errors you had,
You had to do it
and
yourself.
subtract it from the number of words that you had typed. You determine the number of words by dividing it by 5.
You had to do a lot of math.
Every little kid would
And
be amazed at every little kid would be amazed at the typewriter, and they'd hit the button and see which arm would come up and hit the paper. You know, you'd try to guess what. Okay, let's see that one. Oh no!
oh, Brad, you had to use the keys on them.
Well, if you didn't look at the name. Did you do that ever?
But there was correction fluid that you could use on it. But if you typed a letter and made a mistake, you had to pull it out,
So
throw
what
it
if
away,
you,
start all
couldn't you
over.
like write with your pen, like the letter instead over?
Cross it out.
Well, yeah, but not to turn in for homework.
Or you couldn't do that?
No. Uh-uh.
How much typing did you take?
2 years.
You did?
I was smarter than you, huh?
Well,
Faster.
I don't know. I took a half a year. I took 1 semester or so.
So
Yeah, we
there's,
took a half.
But I was pretty good.
But I couldn't take shorthand because they only offered shorthand during band, and they needed me in band.
You play
The
the
trombone.
With her foot.
you did.
short. She had to use her foot to pull it out.
When I started in 5th grade, maybe. But we're talking older now.
So what
And I
class
got to appear at the state competition on solos.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Aunt Joyce. Want to hear another funny story about Aunt Joyce? She was jack of all trades as far as the band goes. If they needed percussion, she would go and do percussion and learn it. Or when they needed an oboe, she learned it and all that. Well, for our marching band, she was a drum majorette. You know, that holds the big baton and leads you. So we were at competition where there were a bunch of bands, marching bands competing. We'd been trained really, really well to follow exactly what the drum major told us to do. So here we were marching along, and of course the drum major was marching with her back to where we were going, watching the band, you know, and leading us as we were playing and everything. We saw where we were headed, and we were headed for this long banquet table where all the judges sat at the side of the football field. And she didn't give us the signal to reverse march, you know, which was, anyway, we were a pretty good marching band, and so we all just followed her. And before long, we saw these judges jumping up and pushing the table out of the way.
Wait, is Aunt Joyce still leading you guys?
Yeah.
But we followed her.
Oh, wow.
We got a pretty good score. And then she finally, realized what she was doing and had to give the whistle and the signal, and then we'd start our reverse. When we'd go
How
in.
funny.
Yeah, it was really funny. She was, there's a lot of good stories about Aunt Joyce.
So what classes did you guys take? Other classes?
Seminary, release time seminary.
Really?
Oh yeah, and
Like during school or before school?
release time.
Release time
It was
during
during
Oh,
school.
during.
It would count as a class, but you didn't. Well, you got credit for everything except Book of Mormon, right?
Huh.
I think so. But our seminary building was right across the street from our high school. Home ec. He didn't take home ec.
But I dated girls who did.
You were smart enough for that, weren't you? Home ec, typing, English, math,
Taking your languages?
American history.
Just English.
No, they only offered Spanish in our school. And that was at the same time, I think, too, as music.
So was it the norm for kids to get married at 18?
Mm-hmm.
It was not unusual at all.
So
Yeah,
your
right out
parents
of high
did
school.
really bad, and I get that.
They probably batted several, but they didn't let us in.
My best friend, Della Lobison, got married between our junior and senior year.
Oh,
So he was married all during his senior
but
year.
he had a reason.
His reason was the girl that he married, she was a year ahead of us in school, and her father, she was really, really ill or had died.
He died.
He had, yeah,
He
okay.
died.
He had died, and Dell was out. They had a little farm and some stuff, and Dell lived in town. So Dell was always out at their place, taking care of the farm, doing the chores and
During the
everything.
milking
And it just made sense for him to go ahead and get married. They were engaged.
So did he finish school?
Yeah.
Mhm.
and you know him.
Yeah.
Tell us about your friends Cheryl and Shirley. I always thought that. I
I-
never knew who was who.
I know it. Me too.
You do, Mom.
Yeah, when I
They're a
started-
married couple, Cheryl and Shirley.
Which one is the guy?
Shirley.
Cheryl?
Shirley.
Cheryl?
Shirley.
Cheryl.
Cheryl!
Sherril.
Cheryl.
Cheryl Stallings.
I had a guy in my group this morning, or yesterday. This morning, his name was Renee.
Is he French?
When
He
we
was
would-
French Canadian.
Yeah.
When we'd go visit
Common.
Cheryl and Shirley, and we would have to actually, as kids, have to speak to one of them, I'd have to call them Cheryl and Shirley. Whoever it was I was speaking to.
Really?
Cheryl and Shirley, Cheryl and Shirley.
Shirley was, she lived in the town of Annis, and they would go to Midway High School. Well, Midway High School burned down, and I didn't set fire to it.
One summer.
Burned down the year before I was to become a freshman in high school. She would have been between her freshman and sophomore year. She was a year ahead of us. So that year, the year that I became a freshman, all of the kids from Midway High School started going to Wrigley High School. So it really increased our population. Well, Cheryl had lived out in that Annis area, or Manan area, Louisville area somewhere. They had moved into Wrigley. So at our freshman year, he and Dell and I became acquainted. Dell and I became acquainted with Cheryl. One time, we got acquainted. Well, Dell and I wanted to go someplace sometime, but we didn't have wheels, didn't have a car to take.
And you got a driver's license at age
We
14.
got it, yeah. So we said, why don't we go ask that new kid, Stallings, if he can get his car. So we invited him to go with us if he would drive. Anyway, he and Shirley started dating when they were sophomores, I guess, that year, more than likely. They dated for a long time. Dell and Janice. Janice was part of the Midway group.
So Cheryl and Shirley got married before we did, right out of high school.
The church did not at that point have guidelines on when to date, right?
Mm-mm. It wasn't until we had almost all of you, maybe all of you.
We were
Really?
living in Spring Valley.
So
We were
what-
living in Spring Valley, California,
Wow.
that they came out with the guideline of 16.
What were the guidelines?
There
There were
guidelines.
none. What did your parents have specific rules about dating?
Yeah, my mother said, you treat every girl as if she were your sister.
Oh no, that's terrible.
And I said, Mother, I mean, she's got to sit clear across the car.
If she knew how poorly you treated your little sister, she
Yeah, she
wouldn't
never
say
would have
that.
said that.
Actually, there was more trust placed in me anyway than I deserved, probably, by my parents.
You could date whenever you wanted to. You could start dating if you were able to start dating.
My first date, I was 12 years old.
Oh my word.
Sure, I just
Okay,
did.
let's talk about something more fun.
Did you play card games?
I thought that was fun.
Were
Right,
your
all the
families
time.
game players?
My family played Flinch.
Tell us
What's
that.
like?
Don't you have a Flinch card game? You need to get one.
Yeah.
It's just a fun, big family card game. And if the person doesn't play the card that was turned up in front of them when they had an opportunity, if you say flinch, then they have to take a family card.
Oh,
And you're trying to get rid of your cards. It's just a fun card
so you were
game.
card game players.
So that's the only card game we played. We played checkers and things.
Was there any weird
So-
parts of speech that you remember from when you were young, the way
Yes,
Idahoans
crick. Why do you, I couldn't understand why C-R-E-E-K was pronounced crick, but it was.
Oh, crick.
In Idaho, it was crick.
You're crick.
And I
Kind of like
I
why
remember-
OIL is pronounced oil.
Oh,
I-
oh,
I can remember wondering, why do we say crick when it's got two E's in it? And that was how it was pronounced, was crick.
Did you
When
ever?
I was a kid, I would listen to people in southern Utah talk, and they would always say things like, what I can remember the most is they'd say, were you born in a barn?
We didn't do
I
our
don't know.
vowels that way.
Oh, you didn't? You didn't?
Uh-uh.
Another thing that they said that I remember as a kid listening to southern Utahns is that they would say harse instead of horse.
And we didn't do that.
Didn't do that.
No,
that's
we
that's
were-
Utah talk.
What? Sierra, what?
Did you guys ever get snowed in?
Yes.
Did you love it? Or were you,
Yes.
you loved it? Was it scary then?
47,
The
48.
great winter of 1947-48.
Really? You
2
remember
weeks of no school.
that? Wow.
And the snow drifts were so high they were about up to the top of the railroad cars in front of us.
Wow. What did you do?
Just played games and
That sounds so fun.
just played, had a good time, and went out and played in the snow.
Yeah.
My brother H and I built a huge pile of snow out in the front yard, and then created a sculpture of something. We had trumped the snow down, trumped it down, and threw more snow on it. I think we carved a horse in it, if I'm not mistaken. But then we had some big puzzles that he and I had a contest. Who could get it done first? Big, I don't know, 2,000 piece puzzles. But when they finally got the road plowed out, and we go to school on the bus, it was just barely wide enough for one vehicle down East Country Road,
Yeah, snow piled up on
and the
the-
snow was above the top of the bus.
Oh.
It was really fun.
You have good questions, Sierra.
We used to play rook.
Azure has
Really? Your
good
family
saying.
was rook players? I didn't know they had rook
The
players.
calls?
Well, I didn't know that rook existed way back then.
Yeah, it was.
You know what we did at Grandpa called the funeral, after the funeral?
We played rook.
Yeah. We
Really?
set up all kinds of tables and played rook, the whole extended family.
Really?
Was Scrabble a game back then? Way back then?
Uh-uh.
No,
That's after we were married.
So were those the main games that were?
Well, they had playing cards and
Yeah.
my dad and mom played pinochle a bit, and Dad taught Dean and EH how, but he never taught me.
he knew better.
I always wondered about that.
You use more than one deck to play pinochle, right?
I don't know.
I don't
Never,
know.
I never
You
learned
do.
how to play.
I think you use
You do.
multiple decks.
Do you? 'Cause you do to play canasta.
There was a kid up in Alaska that was showing this Boy Scout on a Boy Scout trip that was showing everybody how to play pinochle. And I grabbed the decks from him and I turned to him just silly. I said, hey, because he knew every game. He knew how to play all these games. I said, hey, you know how to play 52 card pickup? And he looked at me and he goes, no, that sounds interesting. How do you play that? And I looked at him very hard because I thought, can it be true? He doesn't know 52 card pickup. I said, you really don't know how to play 52 card pickup? And he says, I don't know. Teach me. How do you do it? Yeah, oh, it was the funniest thing. He was so mad at me. We helped him clean him up.
Well, then, Lee, I think we've run about out of words.
We'll pick it up another night.
One of the funnest memories I have about when I was a little kid, though, and Mom and Dad would go on a trip. They'd go down to Utah or someplace, and on the way home, if it was after dark, and they were supposed to be coming home, I remember kneeling on the couch, looking out the window towards the highway, and I learned to recognize the headlights of our car. And when it turned off the highway, I saw it about a quarter of a mile to come to our house. And I'd get so excited that Mom and Dad were coming home. I recognized the headlights. They're home, they're home, they're home.
Mine didn't go anywhere. They just stayed home.
That's one of my fond memories.
Were you-
Well, let me tell you one other thing. I know that there's a Santa Claus because when I was 6 or 7 years old, I My mom had said, "You've got to get to bed. Santa Claus won't come." So I went downstairs, and I was getting ready for bed, and I heard some jingles of the bells, and we had this little narrow window
Downstairs means down in the
down in the
basement.
basement, narrow window at the top of the wall. And as I looked up there, I heard these jingle bells. I looked up, and there was Black Boots walking across in the snow. And I knew that Santa Claus was real then. So I hurried up and got to bed. Sure enough, the next day was Christmas.
Good, I'm glad posterity will
Okay,
have.
one thing for my Christmas
Yeah.
is that during the war, probably, maybe it was the whole time I was growing up, I don't know. But usually Santa would bring us, the little girls, one doll, and that would be our present from Santa. And we'd always have cousins come to see what we got for Christmas and everything. And I guess so that my mom probably didn't want the dolls to get ruined. And so my dad had some nails way up in the living room at the top of almost to the ceiling. And so before any company came, then they would hang up the dolls by the back of their clothes on these nails so that we could say, "That's my doll," but they weren't down there getting played with by the cousins.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
So you
Pretty
didn't have hard candy Christmases?
Uh-huh.
You did? That's what you had?
Uh-huh.
And you're so excited for that?
Uh-huh. And we made taffy.
Oh, really?
Have you made taffy where you pull the candy and pull the candy?
I don't think
Oh, you ought to try making
Was it your family or my family where one of them got their hair cut in a taffy pulling machine? And it pulled part of their scalp off.
Oh, my
Must have
head.
been yours.
Yeah, I think it was.
Must have been yours.
Must have been yours.
Can you imagine that? Getting your hair cut in a taffy pulling
No.
machine?
I didn't even know they had taffy pulling machines.
No, remember they
No, I don't.
Well, that's nowadays.
Well,
The taffy
they
pulling
had 'em-
machines are like that.
They had to have had them
But at
back
home,
then,
we
I
just
think,
pulled
too.
between us.
Yeah, we would pull it and then lay it
Taffy
out in
pulling
a
parties.
cookie sheet.
Taffy.
Then you tap it with the handle of a knife and then break a piece off and lash it for an hour.
Okay.
Okay, tomorrow night, or tomorrow. Okay, got it, Mom. Happy Thanksgiving 2009.
What are you making now?
I'm just setting the table. Casey's making stuff. Yams.
I am making candied apple yams.
Yummy.
Mother favorite.
Huh. Is that generously,
Courtesy of her mother.
no, generously containing grits and collard greens?
I can whip some of those up too.
Brad, did you get a video of the turkey here?
Is your mother a Southern girl?
Yeah, she's from Kentucky.
Getting ready to go in the turkey fryer.
I think I knew it one time.
Yeah, she is the cutest thing ever.
Hey, let me take a video of Jace. Let me see Jace.
Oh no, I'm rolling. Oh no, those apples smell really good.
Where did our little Gage go?
Gage is sleeping somewhere, but on Azure?
I'm dead, Jason. Wait, why don't you take off your necklace so don't break?
You just hit the glove. What are you doing then?
Wait, Brooke, take off your necklace so you don't rip it.
I'm okay.
Go, Brooke. Here.
I'm trying.
Punch her under arm. There you go. When she goes in to punch you, you punch her.
Okay. I can't put your face in.
Punch her in the arm. Side of the arm.
No!
Yeah.
Don't forget the Brooke is
Don't
in
touch
mommy.
the glass. Yeah, I just had a baby, okay?
Yeah, like 9 months ago.
No, 2 months ago. I'm doing a lot more than most Brett do after 2 months.
Okay, Brett. What? You guys, can I get out here real quick?
You're so good. Ah! Oh, that one hurt. Sorry, I was really mean. You're going down too. That's how.
She just tried to punch you in the face. I saw it.
No, I didn't. I was trying to put your
Sorry,
side.
sorry.
It's like this. So you're going. Oh yeah. Good.
videotaping me with this new boy.
You said to do this.
Do what? Yeah.
Do that.
I'm gonna go around here.
Hey kids, Sierra, I have a little baby here now, so be real careful.
Oh, dang it, bitches!
Sierra, be very careful of Brian's mouth.
I'm not gonna get his face.
He's got how many thousands of dollars worth of
4. Oh.
Fried turkey is so much better than baked turkey.
Good job. Hopefully go fast.
It's very moist. Italy. Darken it up. Unimportant.
That is my Cassidy's my boy.
Brian, you're gonna lose your appetite.
Can I put more of this in or not?
I can taste it.
Okay, I wouldn't.
I'll do it.
No, we did on a daily basis.
That was like a.
Yeah.
We can go into Sierra's room if you want.
No, we like it. Don't stop. So I pull out the camera and you stop. Here's our pies. Nobody knows the words.
Don't worry, but I won't be able to ride for a while. I cried, never gonna hold the hand of another guy too young for him. They told her, waiting for the love of a traveling soldier. Our love will never end, waiting for the soldier to come back again. Never more to be alone. When the letter said, the soldier's coming home. What's that part? So she went, no. At a football game. Friday night at a football game. The Lord's Prayer said and the anthem sang in the golden red. And nobody really cares. It's fine. But a pretty little girl with a bow in her hair.
Nice song.
I cried, never gonna hold the hand of another guy too young for him. They told her, waiting for the love of a traveling soldier. Our love will never end, waiting for the soldier to come back again. Never more to be alone. When the letter said, the soldier's coming. I cried, never gonna hold the hand of another guy too young for him. They told her, waiting for the love of a traveling soldier. Our love will never end, waiting for the soldier to come back again. Never more to be alone. When the letter said, the soldier's coming home. As you sing by yourself. For him they told her, waiting for the love of a traveling soldier. Our love will never end, waiting for the soldier to come back again. Never more to be alone. When the letter said, the soldier's coming home.
Brad, can you get the phone?
Good job. Grandpa bought a pumpkin. It's pumpkin and regular.
Where's Brookie's ornaments at?
At her house.
No, they're not. They're in a Rubbermaid in our garage that says Brooke stuff.
It's a about 30 boxes of your stuff. Sorry.
Just cookies?
Yeah, this is working. This is
Is there whipped cream for the pies?
No, I just got this thing called, as soon as we decorate the tree, I promise to whip some cream for the pies, okay?
Okay, we're
So,
ready.
Brad, are you ready to have?
Wait, is there whipped cream?
No, I'm gonna whip some cream as soon as we have the tree decorated.
Like now you come to you hold this not good. It's like eating soup or something.
Stop!
Oh, okay.
This is, Brian, I do all the lights and everything. That's yours.
Dad, are you late?
Mom,
for
you're-
the whole time? Are you late? Yeah, can I move it over here so we have more?
You can move it.
Crash.
Oh,
The first time they've been, Mom,
that doesn't hurt, huh?
this is the first time you've been here, so we put my old chocolate ornaments out. I don't know ever.
Do you remember this? Okay, you can put this one on there, okay?
Remember all of our chests?
So I'll put this one on by myself. Chelsea, what it is? Sorry. Okay, yeah, I'll help.
We're starting.
Is the video camera on?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, we're
crazy.
starting already?
Yeah.
Put it on the tree. Where is the camera?
It's right there.
Just throw it on the tree. It'll stick.
Where's my box?
Good job. Oh, you could do high.
Reister. Ryan, 2003.
Oh,
Good job.
only do it to that one though.
Steve, feel
The rest
free to
of
get
it,
an
hang up.
ornament.
Here, just let me get one out for you. Here, you do this one.
Italy has to be,
Oh, Brian,
Oh, just don't throw that one.
Brian,
hey
if,
kids.
can you turn on the recording thing
Look
again?
at
Turn it
these.
this
You know what
way.
these are? Can you make it quick frame?
Yes, swings. On this?
Yeah, swing ornaments.
I think we should only have ornaments
No, girl.
that are representative. Yes, you guys, our tree is high. I'm not an
I
Ebenezer
was supposed to
Scrooge.
make one of these for every kid, and there's only 3 here.
I think
I would
Dad, I like that
I would
idea.
like one.
We should use those wood things that we got in Sitka, the monkeys. What if we had a wooden
Every one of
Christmas?
our ornaments means something to us.
Not to me, Mom, I promise.
Well,
Well, you don't
I'll-
have yours out, so.
well, your ornaments, Brookie, are in the garage. You could choose how to
You want to put
do
this
it.
on there?
Yeah,
Okay.
here it comes.
What does this say? This
I
says
made that, okay?
sweetbread.
It
It says
Azure.
Azure sweetbread. Is this Azure?
Ornament number
Grandmother and
3000.
grandpa. I made that. Oh, wait, no, you can put this one on, Jace.
Some things never need to
Put this
be
one on. Oh,
Hey
look.
Steve,
Put it by this thing, Jace.
this was a disc out of our
There you go.
one of our Christmas trees that I
Here, you
that
can
I
actually put this
sanded
on, okay?
and varnished.
Oh wow, that's
Isn't that cool?
See, I think things like that.
Here's a neat ornament. Seal skin.
Brooke, you think things like that should go on the tree, right?
You're supposed to put them on the tree.
I think we should have an organic Christmas. Only things that are alive.
How about I hold them?
Ricky, I have one of your ornaments.
Okay, that
That's
needs
still
to.
important. Oh, he was gonna put those on.
He handed them to me.
Oh.
You have to help me.
Oops, why did this go blurry?
What is this?
Steve was doing
You
something.
done with them?
Mom, this is yours.
You made it for me, which means
Hey, I'm
it
gonna
became
give one of
yours.
these to Brooke to take home.
Stand back. Stand back. I'm getting a Christmas. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. I have so many ornaments that didn't last so long.
I know that's pointless.
There you go.
This looks just like our sweet.
This is important.
What?
Erica Cole Hazel's
Just
gonna
like
see.
this is important. It means something too. I'm not sure where I got it though. Because I danced and I got it when I was dancing and I'm not dancing.
An ornament that my
That's not an ornament.
great uncle.
Well, Brooke, Erica Cole
Name
gave it to me.
stand.
Yeah, she's my first crush. Decorate? No, that's Nicole Stevens.
You love decorating.
See these 2 snowshoes?
Yeah.
I made those by hand.
That, Dad.
But we don't make the elder balls. That's very
You're talking about ornaments that mean something.
This is really important to me.
See, this Brooke's first crush.
This is what grandmother and grandpa gave
Like our
me.
second cousin.
Mom, elder balls is our second cover that.
Why?
Grandmother and grandpa.
Here's my favorite ornament of all time.
Oh, that's cool.
Emily and I bought this at Trolley Square in Salt Lake City, not having any clue that we'd spent so many years in Alaska.
Mom,
Emily, Mommy,
Brad, you have
mommy,
to, Brad, you have to
Mom.
clean up your own ornaments. Remember this? Remember the
I
year
won
of
this
the
at the polar
Or somewhere from.
something.
What year was it?
Polar dip.
Just,
73.
Hey, do we have a box of books anywhere?
Do we have a
Oh,
box
the video camera's right there.
Books anywhere, Denley? Uh-oh.
Nope. I don't know.
Am I not in there? I'm not.
So
Oh,
I
yes, I
put it
am.
on you. I need this. Hey, Daddy.
Hey, why are we putting a picture of Elder Balls on?
Every year since he served in our mission.
Question. Wouldn't it be cool to have an Alaska Christmas where we usually had
Here's what we're gonna put
Alaska,
up.
like the all the ones that Dad made, and his helicopter thing, and all the bush planes.
These are truckies. These
Oh,
are
is that yours? Where's
the
mine?
Federated
Yes,
States.
I think I'd be creeped out if I
Truck
had
Mom.
showing up on some
They're not really good stuff. I saw them at the bottom and we decided to make use of
Other
them.
balls 10 years ago.
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
definitely be creeped out.
Ornaments that mean something. Ask my mother if this means anything.
I know that. Where we shrink the stuff in.
Yeah. 1971, Mom.
What does that one mean to you?
I got this one of my last years.
Okay.
I did one of my last.
One of my last years.
I can't say everything, Sarah. They're at Steven's house.
These ornaments here were ones that I came up with myself. That is a piece of bark from
Other
Oh,
ones
I love this one.
Why?
Because I got it when I was in second grade. At
Hey, I would like to trade this Mowgli away to somebody for.
That's my dad.
Very
Does it say Brian? Oh, it does. It is yours.
Brian would have a
Oh, look
I
at
got
this.
this when I got
Look at
surgery.
this one. Casey.
Okay, but this one's my favorite. Do you want to know why?
That is a piece of bark.
You don't
Isn't
remember
that pretty?
Brian, would you grab the video camera? I want to see my mom's reaction on video when I show her.
Mother, isn't this my first one?
Here, guys, let's watch grandmother's reaction.
Hey, Mom. Do you
Okay,
remember
videotape
that?
it good,
Oh,
right?
yes.
That was 1961.
You were 3 years old.
Not quite. Almost 3. Look, Gage thinks this he loves it. And then, Mom, what about this? See if you remember this. It's very protected for a good reason. Do you remember this?
Yes, and that's so teeny. What year?
1958.
Yeah, for you, brand new baby.
My very first ornament.
Neat.
Yours.
2 weeks, 3 weeks. 1 week, 10 days old.
10 days old. So these go up every year, Mom. They stay good. Yeah.
Kids, look at this.
Oh, Dad. Oh,
old
yeah,
was I
put
when I
that
did
one up.
I think I was in kindergarten.
Look, I have a very important one.
Thanks, Bri.
Put him up high, Mom, so Jace don't get him.
Yeah, I
Oh my god. I was trying to make a cool ornament in fourth grade and it turned out looking like
I know.
ow. It's cute and long.
Remember these? Hey, look. This is mine. Dad.
Cool. Gecko. A
I
Guam
lived in
gecko.
Guam. I was born
We had
on-
geckos in our house in Guam.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't remember Guam. But
Hey, I don't remember this one and it doesn't have my name on it. Who would like it? Do I hear $3? $3, $3.50?
Oh, it's my bell.
Dad, like, see, this is.
Brian, here's another one of yours. It's a Clinket drum. Where'd Brian go?
Dad.
Oh, you have a Clinket drum?
This Clinket drum is a piece of wood. Dad, that you cut.
Oh, yeah. That is a piece of
Cedar.
cedar. Yes, yellow cedar. That's a piece of yellow cedar. Here you go, kid, Jason. Do we have a hook? Oh, I don't see a hook.
1994, Jenny brought that
Oh, but
back
I
from Hawaii.
have it all.
Who wants another one of our sit to
Every
sleep?
one of these
I do.
Got it one day, place one
No,
day,
no.
sometime.
No, I didn't.
Brad says two or three of our favorites, and every one of his is gone up.
You didn't remember that though.
Doesn't matter.
I'm gonna take a break and look at Gage for a while.
Your mom heard that.
but Dad is the one.
Brad,
who-
1992.
Dad has the label maker.
Yeah. It's behind my bed.
Mom, do you
No, it's in my
remember we had a
bookshelf.
strand of
I'll
gold
get it
ball
after we're
from
out.
Pete's?
Like that, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, put up whatever you want.
Hey, Gage.
Mom, remember the
Honey.
year we did these?
Son.
Yes, I do.
He's so cute.
Little boy.
One or two good ones.
Remember these?
Oh, I
1980.
Yes, I remember you getting that one. I don't remember.
You don't remember what everybody else
I
got?
don't think I have
Nice.
like
Thank
that.
you, hon. Let me see if there's others that Grandma got. Mom, you might not remember when I got this. Do you remember anything about this?
Brooke, do you want to put this up?
Two Away from Katie Williamson. It was on my birthday, it was the tag on my
They
birthday.
never do that.
What? Thank you, hon.
I don't have my, here's my social passport.
Yeah, you can put it on our glass. This isn't glass, this is not.
Mine was on the first. We always frisbee the first mine was on the
Yeah.
first time.
Yours right on the first time? Okay, this is what I wanted to polar dip in 2005 when we jumped in the ocean.
Oh my god.
This I got on my mission. Somebody made it.
Oh, nice.
That's neat.
Oh, Dad.
He's really alert.
You are so smart.
You should read a book.
Oh, I found it. Yes. Yes. I found it.
What
It's
is
Alder Leonard.
Oh, Alan Leonard.
I will say.
Isn't that who Brooke was gonna marry?
Yes.
How long have
No.
you served?
Where's Alder? Like, where's the Alder Leonard?
Remember that? I don't know if you
He's
guys
up
ever
here.
noticed, but
He's up
Leonard
here.
Leonard had this really weird plastic bridge in his mouth. In fact, I think he was born with no roof in his mouth,
Maybe.
and he had this really interesting.
Can I just say, if I found out 10 years after I served my mission that people were putting pictures of me on my Christmas tree, I'd be freaked out.
Tradition.
Some
Steve, I don't
traditions.
think you would be one, you're not one that we would have favored with this. There's certain criteria that have to be
You
met.
have to.
They're Thank weird. you.
No, they're weird.
You're actually welcome.
That's.
I cannot believe though we
You're
don't
not
have a
one of those
picture of
either.
Errol Warner.
Oh, was it Warner? Was that his name?
Is it Warren or Warner?
Elder Warren. Remember that one Elder Bagley whose hand had that sweating problem?
Oh
That
yeah.
one guy.
Yeah.
His hands are always
After a while, he'd come to our house, and when
Do
we'd
you
get ready to
remember
go, everybody would
was
shake the
Brian.
other elder's hand, and
then pat.
nobody would shake his hand, and he wouldn't offer his hand
Brian.
Really?
because he had this sweating problem,
Mom.
and it was gross to shake his hand. And he'd come right out and tell you. He'd say, I don't really think you want to shake my hand. They're clammy and wet.
Oh, yeah.
And after a while, we just got used to not shaking his hand.
Mom, this plant bloomed so pretty.
He was a really nice elder.
Mom,
Now, did we?
remember these?
Seems like he came back with his parents.
Yes, he did.
Did he?
Yeah. So did Elder Balls. Remember he got piercings and died.
Yeah, but when he came in time after that, he actually got rid of all that
I
weird
think it's
stuff.
totally clever.
Why did we get
All my
pictures
shirts
of
are
our elder?
No, they were on in the church.
Yeah, they were in the church, and we took them home. Because we knew they were just going to get thrown away if they were left at the church.
No, it was mom's. It was mom. Mom was supposed. Mom did that whole thing with all the missionaries. She took that's in front of our bookshelf. Remember? She took all.
Oh, right.
Well, I want to know what happened to Elder Bellis's picture up there.
That was-
That was. We still have it.
His
Elder
picture was
Ballas?
never up here. It was
We
never
have
in the tree. It was in the girls' rooms.
It was in the girls' room. Remember? Like that. I also had a date with him. Like his fiance. I was 16.
You thought you were.
And Rocky came with his fiance. And you were like, gosh.
I know.
I thought I was 16 and I thought in 3 years you married me. Like, he was waiting for you. Married her. So sad. Emily.
Emily. And you like tell her whole name. Emily. Blah, blah, blah.
Rookie and Brad.
This is my favorite Christmas song.
Me too.
Rookie and Brad.
What's this from? Oh, great. It's
Oh,
from-
great.
What's it from?
Nephi Christmas.
Oh, and it's broken.
That's sad.
Is there a piece in there? I'll glue it.
No, it's from.
Hey, let's sing Christmas song. Or, Levi Christmas song.
But when he comes.
Oh, Mom, here's my
have one in here, but I'm embarrassed to display it.
Mine's more embarrassing, isn't it?
These spoon things we made.
I
Yeah,
know, Mom.
Trevor's has like
Mom,
a
if you
golden
were
one.
embarrassing. You guys, we cannot have this many heavy ornaments on these lower ones. Jeez. Lower brow.
It has this deal. You just sit.
Is that bad? It's supposed to be ornament? It's not.
It's not supposed to be an ornament.
I made that when I was in kindergarten.
We dropped pictures. I can't believe they had laminators back then.
Oh, I
No, they
have
didn't.
that's an
Oh, you guys
ornament.
have later.
This was kind of neat. At Allen Marine, when I first got there, everything was new enough with the company that the grandma and the grandpa actually got all excited about Christmas. And they had company people come to